From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Well, happy Monday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger from Weather NorCal, and before we get to the forecast, we're going to jump right into the hidden fire and tell you some of the latest that we can take a look at it. But before we get to that, I do want to remind you, for those of you that are in a hurry and you just want to know the forecast for the day and only the day, you go to Kruger's Quickcast. Now, where you go is go to weathernorcal.com, or you can also do it from the free Weather NorCal app and just go to the forecast videos. When you go to the forecast videos, you have two options. You can watch this forecast that you're watching, but you can also watch Kruger's Quickcast, which again is just about a minute long, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on what's going on. All right, I'm going to go to the weather computer here, and we're going to take you right to some internet sources here to show you what's going on with the fire. So here's the hidden fire. This is coming in from Watch Duty, by the way. So as you can see here, in the center of your screen is the hidden fire. Now that is northeast of the city of Shasta Lake and Redding. You can see the lake itself is, of course, to the north of where the fire is. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this. Now there have been no reports coming in from officials. So as of the last report coming in from CAL FIRE, Jones Valley area mapped by Sensory aircraft at 45 acres at 25% containment. Multiple ground and air resources are actively working on the hidden incident. Now again, this is 9 hours ago, the report coming in. So most likely we're going to be hearing more about what's going on with the fire. Now the winds haven't been terribly strong. They've been a little gusty at times. Humidity recovery hasn't been that great, especially with those north winds. What we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on where we do have the active, basically there are evacuation orders for the areas in red. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of zoom it out here. You can see all of the areas right here. So kind of give you an idea. Here we are. We are looking at Dry Creek Road right here. That's Dry Creek Road. East of Dry Creek Road and west of Dry Creek Road, as you can see right here, there are evacuation orders. Now north of that, as you get closer to the lake, you can see there are evacuation warnings. That means be ready. Now what's interesting, we take a look at this. I'm going to zoom it in a little bit tighter. I want to show you where the latest fire perimeter map is. And again, this is just preliminary coming in from the aircraft. But it looks like the fire started just west of Bear Mountain Road and Bear Mountain Lookout Road, kind of in that corner there, and it worked its way northward. And you can see here, kind of going into some areas where there's just not much in the way of much of a community, not much in the way of homes. Although there are some homes north of that. What you'll see here, though, most of the homes are in this area right here. So as you can see, there's just a whole area, a whole community, a whole area of homes here. So they're obviously concerned. Now, again, nobody's in their homes right now in these areas. These are evacuation orders in these areas. So that is something that we need to really take heed of, those warnings. All right, so I want to show you, of course, that's a look at the latest going on with the fire, the evacuation orders and the warnings. What I want to show you here is the activity we've seen here the last 24 hours. So again, when the fire started, this is that time lapse that you can see right here. Let's put it on a big screen here. There you can see the fire. That's when it started yesterday, producing a lot of smoke. But as we take a look at the same camera overnight, we're not seeing any smoke. And we're not seeing much in the way of heat signatures either. In fact, I want to show you this. This is when the fire started. Now, if you look right here, you'll have to kind of look closely. You can see right here, there is the heat signature coming in from the fire. And again, I'm going to go back to the weather computer here, and we're going to show you here a time lapse. See what happens as we go into the overnight hours? No more heat signature. This is looking at the latest image right now. No more heat signature there either. So that is a good sign. Most likely the containment is higher. Most likely the fire hasn't grown that much higher. We'll have to wait and see. Now I want to remind you, if you want to find out the latest, go to weathernorcal.com. Here is the beginning right here. You click on fire danger. Okay, we click on fire danger. This will take you to watch duty, where you can find all the latest on the fire there. We just kind of zoom out here. It's very much interactive. You can click on the fire. You can see on the right side where the orders are and all that good stuff, right? And then you go down here, you can see where there's just, fire weather outlook, the fire weather potential. You can also take a look at the red flag warnings in the area. This right here is where you can find out where the different evacuation orders and warnings are. And you can also take a look at the power shutoffs. Keep in mind that the image here is not a live image. You have to click on it to find out where the power outages are. And then you can go to this, view an outage map, and you can see where all the power outages are. So you can kind of see here, there actually are power outages around where the fire is, near Lake, just to the south of Lake right there. Looks like there are some power outages. So just kind of something to kind of remind ourselves of. So again, that is kind of taking a look at that. All right, so again, we're looking at the fire. Let's switch gears and get you to the forecast now. Now, yesterday was Father's Day. And I was very fortunate to get my son out of bed. He's kind of going through this phase now. He's sleeping till like noon, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes. So I had to get him out of bed, and I convinced him to go to Castle Craig's Wilderness with me. Now, that's quite a hike. I felt really good because he's in great shape. As you know, he's a long-distance runner and he's in great shape. But I was able to keep up with him. Didn't have any problems. And there you can see this is kind of just a great picturesque spot. Of course, you got the sign. There's Mount Shasta off in the distance. And it was just a great time. He really enjoyed it up there. He doesn't remember actually going up there. I did take him up as a younger child, but he didn't remember. So kind of felt like a first-time experience for him. By the way, if you want to share your photos, you can go to the Free Weather NorCal app. Go to the bottom of that app and you can share your photos right from the app. Just a really great place to share those photos. And I want you to do that. Share your Father's Day photos, your Mother's Day photos, your pets. Share pictures a sunset, a sunrise. Just share the pictures. Beautiful pictures. We love to see them. And I'll try to, depending on how many come in, I'll try to share some of those pictures here every morning on this update here. All right, so there is a freeze warning this morning towards northeast Modoc County. There's also a frost advisory until 9 o'clock this morning for southern Trinity County and southern Humboldt County as well. So things that kind of take into account this morning. It's a chilly start in some areas. There's that high fire danger to start the work week. We've got the cooling trend. It peaks today. You may have noticed wasn't that hot for the most part over the weekend. And that'll continue. That cooling trend will continue into this morning, today. Warming trend, though, after today starts to kind of warm back up. We're back in the triple digits, by the way, and then mainly dry. Futurecast is showing some indication that tomorrow may be a little bit of activity, but nothing I'm really setting in stone just yet. There's your neighborhood forecast at a glance. Look at that, 85 degrees in the valley today, give or take. 60s and 70s for the higher elevations, around 60 degrees here for the coast. So again, not a bad day. But then we talk about the fire danger. And the National Weather Service, the fire outlook for today is in the elevated range. If you start getting the reds and those purples, you start getting that critical and extreme. We're not in the critical and extreme. And one of the reasons why is because we don't have the heat. But we do have the winds, we do have the dry conditions, and we do have the fuel out there. So as a result, this is the first red flag warning of the season that we saw over the weekend. It continues and it has been extended. I think it was on Saturday, it was extended to Monday. Yesterday, then it got extended to Tuesday morning, right? The north winds at 15 to 20 miles an hour, sustained. Gusts 25 to 35 miles per hour. And the humidity quite low, getting in the single digits and in the teens. And again, this is through Tuesday morning. So, you hear red flag warning. What does that mean? What is the criteria for a red flag warning? Well, number one, low relative humidity. If it's 15% or less, that's the first one. Number two, if you have frequent gusty winds of 25 miles per hour or higher. Now, both must occur, both the humidity and dry conditions, right? Both the humidity, the low humidity, and the winds combined must occur for at least 3 hours in a 24-hour period. And we certainly have seen that. Now, another thing to take into account is if there's going to be any thunderstorms. Now, we're not looking at thunderstorms in the area, at least anything to be too terribly concerned about, so that's not going to be part of the equation. It's this part here is the reason why we have that red flag warning. Now, this is just another forecast agency out there, and they put out these fire potentials. And orange, just the first time we've seen this season, This orange is because of the wind. And of course, that's essentially what we got going on today. As we go into tomorrow, it starts off breezy on Tuesday that is, but the wind should start to subside, but it's still within that moderate risk. So we still need to be careful for your Tuesday. So let's take a look at the winds here for today. There you can see they're coming in, the forecast wind gusts upwards around 20 miles per hour or higher. I do expect 20, 25, even 30 miles per hour. You'll notice here still some gusty winds, by the way, along the coast. Taking to Tuesday morning, winds fairly strong to start off the day on Tuesday. And again, this is why we still have that red flag warning through Tuesday morning. But by Tuesday afternoon, yeah, still breezy, not as bad with the winds, but again, the red flag warning at least is allowed to expire at 8 o'clock Tuesday morning. We'll see if that gets extended or not. But because you can still see we've got those strong winds out there, and not to mention the humidity. We'll take a look at that here in a second. The good news is, looks like the winds start to die down by the time we get into Wednesday. So we look at the humidity this afternoon. There it is. Remember that 5 to 15%? Well, we're within that. And by the way, look how dry it is to the north and east. This right here is not good to see, because what that means is, as the snow melts, and we're seeing a lot of that snow melt, that means we're getting the grasses. The grasses, the fuels are going to start drying out. So the fire danger is going to start increasing over the next several weeks as we start to see these dry conditions and these hot days, right? And not to mention the winds. Now we see a little bit of that recovery in the humidity tomorrow morning, but then it's very dry again for tomorrow afternoon. Once again, we're well within that category of the red flag warning. It's just, will the winds be strong enough tomorrow afternoon? That's the key factor. And it looks like they may not. But again, this is an indication that we see some very dry conditions out there. Even going into Wednesday morning, still looking at very dry conditions as well. But again, the winds not as much of a factor. All right, so why are the winds gusting out there? We'll take a look at this. This is your typical inside slider that we talk about here, where the area of low pressure kind of dives down to the south and east. You see the spin of low pressure? That's the contributing factor to the gusty winds that we're seeing out there right now, and really have seen over the last few days. That's going to be moving out, which is very good news. Right here, that's moving out, which is going to allow our winds to relax. But as that cooler air moves out, because it's also the reason why it's been coolish, right? It's been pretty nice. You know, that hike I shared you with my son, we got out of the car at Castle Craig State Park, and I was like, oh, I might need a light jacket. Well, once I got, the blood pump in here, I warmed up pretty quickly. But it was cool, right? So temperatures are going back down, right? But then they're going right back up again as we go through this week. Now, what we've got here, big bubble of heat to our west, big bubble of heat to our east, and they're dealing with the heat wave off over the eastern United States. We've got this trough of low pressure right here, but there's not a lot of colder air diving down. So temperatures are still going to be on the warm side. We're going to watch them increase for your Tuesday, your Wednesday. We're back in the triple digits by around Wednesday, Thursday, and even into Friday. But again, this bubble of heat can't build in. This bubble of heat can't build in either. Why? Because we've got another storm system over the Gulf of Alaska. Now, it's not going to move over us, but it's going to ride over these bubbles of heat trying to build in. And as a result, our temperatures just don't get quite as hot. But that being said, we look at the temperature outlook. We're mainly in that barely warmer than normal category, cooler than normal though for the Pacific Northwest. So here's a look at futurecast. And I want to show you this because a couple of things. Of course, any fog along the coast, we're not seeing a ton of it. We are seeing maybe tomorrow morning more of that fog along places like around Eureka. But look at tomorrow afternoon. Futurecast is actually picking up on the potential for some stray showers off in Siskiyou, Modoc, and the eastern mountains, even the mountains of Shasta and Tehama counties possibly. Now, could we see a thunderstorm as well? Certainly not out of the question. Nothing I'm terribly concerned about at this point. We just don't have the fuels just yet, but that again will be changing in the coming weeks as we start to see more and more of these hot, dry, and windy days. But look at the fog. Looks like we are seeing that marine layer kind of return, especially for Wednesday morning. The precipitation outlook, as you can see, is in that drier than normal category. Unfortunately, most of that rain would be up to our north. So looking at your wave heights for today, not too terribly bad, although there is that small correct advisory through this afternoon. You'll notice here, we're not really going to see much change here in those wave heights going into Tuesday. So that small craft advisory that we see here may even extend on into tomorrow with the winds from the north at about 15 to 20 knots. So here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Those temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s. Douglas City, though, about 80, 76 degrees for Hayfork, and 73 degrees in Ruth. We take you out to the north coast, down into central and southern Humboldt County, 73 degrees in Garberville, 74 degrees for Alder Point, and 61 degrees for Eureka. We're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies, temperatures mainly staying in the low 60s, right around normal for this time of the year, actually. You can see about 75 degrees for Gasquet, 62 degrees for Oric, and 74 degrees for Orleans. Temperatures are increasing. We're back into the upper 80s to low 90s by Thursday, Friday, and even into the first half of the weekend. 72 degrees for a high today in Hornbrook, 77 for Happy Camp, and McLeod about 71. Temperatures also increasing there, but they should start to drop by the second half of the weekend, just a little bit, but not by much. 65 degrees out in El Turris today, 65 for Tule Lake, 63 for Aden. Also seeing that increase in those temperatures. Now again, you'll notice I talked about the potential for showers, maybe even a thunderstorm in the eastern mountains, Modoc County, Siskiyou County as well for your Tuesday, but I haven't included it in the 7-day outlook. That may change. We'll see, but just be aware of that certainly could happen. 68 degrees for Janesville, 70 degrees for Kronberg, and Paradise about 78 degrees. So here's your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor with your temperatures in the low to mid 80s, 83 degrees for Hamilton City as well as Willows, 82 in Elk Creek and Paskenta. We take you up to the north with a high of about 84 for the city of Shasta Lake, Whiskeytown about 81, 82 for Lakehead, Redding 85, and Red Bluff a high of about 84 degrees. And look at those temperatures working their way back up. We could possibly touch 100 degrees by Thursday, which, by the way, is the first day of summer. The summer solstice will be occurring on Thursday, the 20th, which, by the way, is also, isn't this kind of a fun coincidence? Not only is it the first day of summer, but it will also be the 1-year anniversary of Weather NorCal when it launched on June 20th of last year. Pretty cool, huh? First day of summer and a 1-year anniversary. But there you can see again, we're approaching that 100-degree mark by Thursday, but will most likely be over 100 degrees by Friday and through the weekend.
Everywhere I go, I'm riding with pride. I'm riding on my go-go. Watch me glide. Everywhere I go, I'm getting around. I'm riding on my go-go. All over town, I'm riding in style and feeling so right. It's easy to take and it's all so light. Everywhere I go, I'm riding on my go-go.
Everything Medical, your mobility experts.